about this?
You are now tuned in to LightSaber Radio. If you only knew the power of dark
Here it comes. Let's go.
You are now tuned in to LightSaber Radio. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello there.
Welcome to LightSaber Radio, the most outrageous Star Wars show on the web. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash that subscribe button as well as the bell icon so you will be notified of all of our future episodes. Also, don't forget to press that like button. It helps get these videos in front of other Star Wars fans so they can get in on the outrageousness. So how's everyone doing today?
Hi.
I'm living
Good.
the dream, baby.
Living the dream, huh? You just happen to be on another episode.
I said that on another episode? When did I say that?
I don't know if you said that on another episode. I can't remember all
If
that
he's living the
shit.
dream, it's going to continue. It's not just
Yeah.
one day.
Dream.
We talk about Star Wars for a living, so we're great.
And we're talking to Verona Blue today.
Yes.
Hello.
That's a dream. It's a dream.
Thank you.
So today we got one hell of a show for you. First, we're going to be talking to wonderful Verona Blue here that has voiced so much shit on Star Wars. It's freaking crazy. She's the very first female stormtrooper in any movie that we hear in any movie. And she has done a shit ton of crap. I'm talking about so much stuff that it is ridiculous. She's been in everything. What, you have Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, Solo, Rogue One, Battlefront 2, and the VR Vader,
Shameless.
the Vader Immortal or whatever. I'm
Yeah.
talking about Star Wars stuff. We get to the rest of
Oh,
that
you
stuff
were in
later,
that
but
game? I didn't even
Yeah.
know that. Holy crap, my bad.
She's been in everything. Like
Yeah.
everything. Like when I was looking up there, I was like, God damn, man, shit. She's been in just about everything that you could possibly be in the last 20 years that has to do with Star Wars. Like, Jesus, that's a shit ton of crap. Like, I was like, holy, that's a lot. So how did you like get into like acting first off? Like what got you all into everything? How did you get
I mean,
started?
That's my
acting.
question. I asked that question.
Oh no. Well, I'll give you both the same answer. Like a lot of people, I just wanted to be an actor since I was a kid. And so when I became an adult, I went to theater school. I went to theater school in England to a school called the Bristol Vic Theater School, which is where like Patrick Stewart went to school, and Olivia Colman and a bunch of other like really great actors. And then after a couple of years living in London, doing theater and some television and stuff, I moved to LA, which is where they apparently make a lot of things. So, I mean, it was not a very exceptional like acting journey. It was like I wanted to do acting, and so I like went to school for it and treated it like a job, and then have been trying to, pursue it ever since.
Yeah.
To get into Star Wars,
She heard the only top 1% gets acting. And she was like, bullshit, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyways.
yeah,
And
it's so hard, dude.
she just forced her way in. Like,
It is such a hard gig, honestly. There's so many people here who are so talented, and so like the bar of like what qualifies as being an actor is like, are you beautiful enough? Are you young enough? Are your parents extremely famous? Are you, do you have the time and the money to pursue acting while also maintaining a very expensive lifestyle in Los Angeles? Did you go to acting school? Do you have like a really special skill? I mean, there's so many entry points for people.
Right.
Some of them more fair, some of them, more luck, some of them earned, some of them not. There's just so many people here all sort of going after the same thing. It sucks. If you don't want to be an actor, don't think about it. Don't come here. You're going to hate it. It's not fun. When you get a job, it's great, but the rest of the time it's just horrendous. So to get into Star Wars though, I am a huge Star Wars fan, and I have been pretty much my whole life. And in 2005, I was a booth babe at a con in Toronto, where I'm from. And I met Matthew Wood, who did the voice of Grievous and also works as the supervising sound editor at Skywalker Sound and basically runs Skywalker Sound at this point. And we met at that con, and we're just like chatting, and hanging out because we were both there the whole time because he was signing and everything. And he saw that I had like a Star Wars tattoo, and we were chatting, and we just became friends. And then years later, when I was in England at theater school, a couple of years later, he was in town for a convention, and he just like didn't know anybody. And so he found my email, and he was like, hey, I don't know if you're still in England or whatever, but do you want to grab lunch? So we like hung out again, sort of reconnected the friendship. And then when I eventually moved to LA, when he was assembling the group of people to work on The Force Awakens, he needed to work on these movies. You need a very specific skill set because they don't tell you anything in advance. Like normally if you work on a television show or a movie where you're doing sort of the background voices and character voices and something like that, they tell you what the movie's about. Maybe they send you a script or a partial script. They give you the plot. They maybe send you some pictures of the kinds of characters or like storyboards of what to expect, or they refer you to other things. So you can kind of prepare, right? Star Wars, no, it's so heavily under NDA. They don't tell you literally shit until you like walk in the room and you sign your contract, and then they will tell you. And also it's all under a code name. They don't tell you what the name of the actual movie is if it hasn't been announced. So you're working under a code name the whole time. Your check is under a code name. Your contract's under a code name. When the guard at the gate gets a code name, like they don't know you're there to work on Star Wars. Like it is
They're like, what's the password? We don't want to let you in.
100%. Like it is so hardcore secure. You're locked in that room with these people, and it's just like they don't take your phones away, but they practically do. You know what I mean? Like it's really, really strict. So the thing about Star Wars, and I'm sure Marvel is the same way. I'm sure like the Lord of the Rings, all these huge franchises that have so much secrecy and anticipation and spoilers in them. I'm sure they're the same way. I've just never worked on those ones. But you don't get any information. So you have to show up already knowing. Like you can't work on a Star Wars thing if you don't already know what the world sounds like. If you don't already know what the lingo sounds like. If you can't sort of invent a sentence that sounds real as a rebel or as, Empire or whatever, or you don't know if something sounds like Huttese or sounds like something else, you're going to just flop. Because you walk into that room blind and then they just show you a scene with no context, right? It's like a marketplace or whatever. And you have to be able to go, that looks like Tatooine, right? And, I recognize those kinds of aliens. And I know that this marketplace sort of sounds like whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I happen to have those skills because not only did I have a master's in theater and I was, acting background and a member of SAG, so like a qualified actor for the job, but I also spent all of this time as a Star Wars fan and really involved in the Star Wars community as part of the 501st and lining up for Star Wars and like all of those things. It's not a huge, it's more now, I'm sure, but it's like not a huge group of people when they start making these new Star Wars movies that can like walk into a room and like know exactly what they sound like on Camino, like in a second, right? That know what the accents sound like. So it's a weird job. It's fun, hard to get, extremely specific. But like, what a great time if you're like a Star Wars fan. What the gig to have,
Yeah. So we were talking a little bit earlier before we came on the show because I was arguing with some people on Reddit yesterday about them trying to say that Phasma was the first female stormtrooper. But if you look at IMDb and you look at Star Wars and you look at fandom and everything, it says that you're the first female stormtrooper. So have you ever gotten to that argument with anybody else?
Only kind of. I'm sort of at the point now where like I try not to talk about Star Wars with almost anyone because the amount of arguing is like just not fun. Like I love Star Wars because I love Star Wars and I'm not interested in having like a long-winded debate. And like at the end of the day, they can be mad about it, but it's my name in the credits forever. So like maybe they disagree, but like I got the check. My name's in the credits. It's on my IMDb. So like it doesn't really matter what they think, I guess. She's not a stormtrooper in the movie. Maybe she was a stormtrooper, but she's not presented as a stormtrooper. She's a captain. She is not a stormtrooper, which is the white armor, first order, whatever. She's not a stormtrooper. So, she's just not.
I agree with you because I was like, wait a minute. It said Lucasfilm says she's the first female stormtrooper, so I don't give a shit what y'all say. Whatever y'all can say, whatever y'all want to say. I know what the Lucasfilm says, and they're the ones that are the bosses, so it doesn't matter what you say.
Exactly. So I'm going to ride this forever.
Like, are you cashing the checks? I didn't think so.
Yeah.
So how did you, well, you kind of went over how you got like into voice acting and acting and stuff. Which one do you think is harder to do, live action or voice acting?
Or stage?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. They're really very different skill sets because, and I think that it's hard for a lot of actors who are really really prolific in one to cross over sometimes. And I think you'll notice that if you look at when they do stunt celebrity casting for like animated movies, and you're like, that's just Chris Pine. Like it just sounds like, or, you know, it just sounds exactly like that actor. And all you can hear is that actor, because when you're on camera, you have your face, you have your body, you have these pauses, you can be really dramatic or create, you know, comedy with the way that you twitch an eyebrow, and you don't have that luxury when you're doing voiceover, especially in animation. The thing that they say is like, you can't animate silence. So, because then you just have these like drawings that are doing nothing, which is weird. It looks like a mistake. So I think for me, I find voice acting harder because I have more background in on camera, or like theater specifically is what I went to school for. So I'm very big on like sort of pulling the whole body together. But at the same time, because I did Shakespeare was my focus, I did classical theater as my master's. Okay. The text is really important. Like for people who are really good at Shakespeare or Chekhov or anything like that, they really understand that the words that are written are the thing that creates the story, and being able to communicate those words clearly is how you get the audience on board with you. And I think a lot of that's the same for voiceover as well, that like, if you understand what you're saying and the motivation of why you're saying it, and the words are interesting or funny or whatever, you can like embody that. And often when you're in the booth, like you're gesticulating, you're bouncing up and down. You know, if they say we need that more high energy, you just literally start jumping up and down to get your heart rate up. So you are bringing your body into it. And I think for some people, they find voice acting way easier because they don't like having people look at them. They do get stage fright. They do feel self-conscious. And the standard for, you know, what is considered like on camera is very different. You know, if you are in a wheelchair, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get an on-camera role, just because of how casting works and how development works and all of those things. But if you are in a wheelchair, like voice acting, you know, I'm sure there's still a struggle to get the job, but like, it's not relevant. Like nobody cares what you look like. You can roll up in Uggs and sweatpants, you know, and like, as long as you sound great, nobody cares. As well, location wise, somebody in Missouri can do voice acting for a major Hollywood production, because location, you don't have to be in the room with the other actors. In fact, a lot of the time, if you're doing especially principal recording, you're not in the room with other actors. It's very rare that you would necessarily be like in an ensemble. So I think they both have challenges, but at their core, you have to learn how to act for both of them. Like there are not a lot of people who can just roll up and do voice acting with no acting experience or training or background and be good at it. It is a job.
Yeah.
What about
hey Chris, hey Star Wars team leader, welcome to the show.
Yeah, see, they missed a Hothbreaker, Kyle. There's a comment.
Bodie, what's going on? We didn't do the Hothbreaker, guys. We kind of skipped over stuff because Verona can't stay with us during the whole episode, so we're gonna we'll get to some other stuff later. We're gonna talk about some Andor and stuff a little bit later when she leaves. But
and I haven't seen Andor yet, so I don't want any spoilers.
Yeah, and then plus she hasn't seen Andor yet. Oh, you're missing out.
You're
one of the people that we talk about.
My husband is away. My husband is in London, and he doesn't get back until tomorrow, so I can't watch it until he gets back.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So you've been trained in like theater.
Yeah.
Which is like probably the only acting I have experience with. Kyle has acting with voiceover.
Cool.
What is you've already talked about the difference between voiceover and acting. What about theater and film? Is there a big difference between that a lot of people don't know about?
I think so. I think like my philosophy on acting, and the reason I wanted to go do a theater program in England, is because when you look at the breadth of actors who are like really good, like you really believe them, even if they're doing really subtle, you know, not really dramatic, not like villain type of stuff. The people who you just go like, I believe that, are often British actors or people who went to a conservatory program, which is when you're not just like learning like tricks to get cast, which is what a lot of the casters in LA are like, where it's like, here's how you trick the casting director to giving you the job. But like you learn to take apart a script. You learn how to like use your body in a way that is conducive to the character and make you feel like the character. You learn like all of these skills and you really embody them and you practice them so much it becomes muscle memory and second nature. And I think that can really help you get a job. Once you get on set though, the camera sometimes is like literally here, right? So you can't necessarily do the same kind of expressions and things that you might do when you're trying to make sure the person at the back of the theater knows it happened. The kind of acting you see on Broadway is like very different because the perspective is different. And then, I was on a show called Bosch, and it's like a cop show. It's really gritty, really dark. And it's like, basically the camera's here and I just mumble the whole time, because if I did too much, it was like so big. It just appeared so big because the perspective of the audience was like so tight. So, I would love to be able to do a show, tonally like The Good Place, where it's like a little bit goofier, where you can be a little bit bigger, where you can be, or like She-Hulk, where like it's just a little over the top, because I feel like that really is more of a theatrical style. And I think it's really fun for the audience to kind of see actors live in that place. But I think, the skills are transferable, but it is hard. When I first moved to LA, I did have to take what are called on-camera classes, because I would go to these auditions and they were like, bring it down, bring it down. I was like, I don't know what that means. I'm doing the thing. It's on the like what? And it was just so big for the camera. And so I was taking these classes to learn how to like make my reactions and things a little bit more subtle, and like bring it a little bit closer to the vest and make it more in the eyes to, they really talk about like your character has to think about the thing. And if you see really good actors, you'll notice, if you start paying attention, that like when other characters are talking, you see them registering. They're not just waiting to talk, right? They're like actually absorbing, like they're like actively listening, and that you believe that character is like invested in the conversation. They're not just like waiting there dead-eyed until they're, able to do their part.
Well, I was thinking being on stage too would be like, because you have to project your voice a whole lot on stage.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I was like, that's really funny, because in stage they're always telling you bigger, louder, more.
And then to have to be able to bring that down, that got to be hard as shit to do.
Yeah. It's tough. It is a transition. Some people are, find it effortless just because they're like innately really understand the medium. I had to take some on-camera classes to like really figure it out, and to also figure out angles and things like that about the camera, because until you really get on a set with like those big fucking cameras that they shoot for like the enormous cameras, and how close they get, like you would not believe how weird it is to have this like giant, like literally inches from your face. And like if you turn your head, like you'll stab your eyeball on the little gates. So it is a challenge. You do it once or twice and you kind of get the vibe, and then if you're really doing well, I think personally, like I find that if I'm really in a scene, I forget the camera's there. I lose everybody else in the room. The crew disappears, and I'm really just in the scene with my acting partner, which is great for me. And that's what it feels like on stage as well. The audience disappears and you're just doing the thing. So yeah, it's a fun job, but it is pretty technical, honestly. Now that I'm talking about it,
I'm being very good, because when you said that, I was about to say some nasty shit. So I'm being good today, guys.
I'll do very good. Give them a round of applause,
Yeah, I'm being good.
I love hearing all this technical stuff. That's where I think it gets really interesting, and how like acting, it's not just like you get lucky or you're really good looking. Like there's some skill and there's some art to it and there's some dedication.
Yeah.
You got to work hard at anything that you do. I mean, and you have to learn. Things change. That's another thing that's crazy, because like the very first thing that I ever did, I was like on this little ass microphone. I had this thing in front of me, and I was in this little room, and it was just a script there. And then the next time I went, I was in this giant ass room. There was like 15 other people in there, and there was all kind of equipment and shit. I was like, oh, what the hell is going on? So shit changes. So you got to adapt with the situations.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever, like, when they heard you on The Force Awakens as a stormtrooper, did anybody like come to you and recognized your voice and was like, you're the stormtrooper? Did you ever get that?
No. I mean, so like I said earlier, I line up for all the Star Wars movies. Like I joined the lines, the week-long lines. I think that is so much. We camp out. It's so much fun. I love all of those fans. They're like so hardcore. They're just like me. They're like there to see the best parts of the Star Wars community, because I think there's like all these people who really love Star Wars, and then there's all these people who just like love to hate Star Wars, and those people aren't going to line up, So the lineup crew in any city are always super dope. And so all of those people. So when we did the first lineup, I actually didn't tell anybody that I had worked on the movie at all because I didn't want it to be weird, and I also wanted it to be a surprise. So and I had lined up.
She was filming like Undercover Boss or something.
So I just hung out, like had a good time. My brother actually flew in with his kid from out of town because we used to line up in Canada, and like we hung out. And then on the day, I was like, I just want you guys to know I'm actually in the movie. And they were like, what? And I was like, I'm just saying. And so when they recognized it, and so like when that stormtrooper says that line, there was like this eruption of like screaming from my friends, my newfound friends from the Star Wars line, which was really cool. But like nobody ever has been like heard my voice on the street or whatever and been like, you're the Star Wars. I got a bunch of messages from like a variety of women and girls after being like, hooray, like we finally got one, which was very cool because it's always been men. And a lot of people who, when I posted about it, like that confirmed that it was in fact a woman. It wasn't just sort of like a, higher pitched man's voice or like a modulated voice, but it was a female actress. So that was very cool. But no one has ever, I've never been like in the airport and someone's like, that sounds like the stormtrooper from The Force Awakens. It's never happened.
I don't know how you go to the opening theater, watching the movie with all these people, and then when you come out jumping up and like, that's me.
Oh no, I did. Theater, 100%. No. 100%.
Like that's me. And everybody's like,
no, like because so here's the thing. When I work on the movies, I get to go to like a cast and crew screening in advance, like not the premiere, but I get to go to like a pre-screening. And I was in line, as we all are, a bunch of us get in line, and Sam Witwer is like, the line's doing a little U, and he sees me and he's like, do you know? And I was like, do I know what? He was like, oh my God, she doesn't know. And I was like, I don't know what. And he's like, well, now I can't tell you. And so when it actually happened in the movie and I heard my voice, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I like grabbed my husband's arm and I was like, that was me. And he was like, what? I was like, that was me. So when I got to see it, now I knew where it was in the movie and I knew that it was coming. So then when I saw it like the next day with the whole crew and my brother or whatever, I had told my brother, I was like, I'm a female stormtrooper. I'm the female stormtrooper. I was like, as it got close to it, I'm like gripping my chair.
42
and
minutes, 30 seconds.
Yeah. And then everybody was like, ah! And I was like, yes! It was very cool. It was extremely exciting for sure.
Well, so you've worked on so many different projects. Which one do you think was the most fun to work on?
I mean, I think The Force Awakens, because it was the first one for sure, was like a huge deal. And everybody who worked on that one was just like so excited, and we just did not know what to expect. And it was like a whole new generation of filmmakers and this like new takeover with the storyline. So I think we were all really excited and just really wanted to do a good job. And then of course, like it was my first time working on any Star Wars project professionally. So I was losing my mind and like super nervous. And then I think after that, probably Rogue One, because I got to do some cool shit in Rogue One. And we got to see a lot of Rogue One when we were working on it, whereas like the main three, we didn't get to see very much in between. And for Rogue One, we got to see a lot like previewed while we were working. And we saw the whole like end scene with Vader. And like, we all were just having a fucking meltdown. Man. Like it was 15 people who are all super hardcore Star Wars people who have worked on Star Wars, a lot of extremely prolific voice actors, super Star Wars nerds. And we kind of got this like private preview into it. So I just think like the energy in the room and how excited and joyful everybody was is like what really makes it such a fun experience.
Okay. All right, so we're going to get into the impossible quiz now because Verona has to leave here shortly. We've already been on for like 24 minutes and you have to leave by 10:30 your time. So that's basically in 30 minutes. So we'll get through this and then we'll talk a little bit more. Some of these I'm pretty sure y'all should be able to get.
I'm not going to be able to. I told you I don't do well under pressure. As soon as I get into a quiz, I don't know. All the information leaves my brain.
There is all you got to do
anymore because I've already accepted the fact that I can't answer.
Yeah, most of these questions can't. Only person that they say everybody that we've had on the show that's met Dave Filoni has said that Dave Filoni can answer all these questions. So I'm working on getting Dave Filoni on here because I guess this dude knows.
Sam and Dave both know more about Star Wars than George Lucas ever will. And if you've ever seen them talk to each other, it's like they have their own language. It is unbelievable how much the two of them nerd out over this thing that they both work on.
CJ's gonna be mad as shit because she bringing up Sam Witwer so much. Like, and that's like one of his favorite people in the entire world. Our other co-host, CJ.
He is such a cool dude. He really is. He's super cool, really nice, legit guy.
We tease him all the time because we're like, because he talks about Sam Witwer so much. We're like, dude, this dude got a restraining order against you, don't he? He got some restraining. You've been stalking him, huh? You're a stalker.
Yeah. I got his phone number. I can.
Oh, if you could call him and tell him just to, hit us up and come on the show, that would fucking freak CJ. CJ would have a heart attack. I swear he would.
It's so funny.
Let's see where we at. Oh, I gotta go to the thing. All right, ready? Let's get to the Star Wars Impossible quiz.
Oh no, I'm so scared.
What are you pressing?
Stop right there, you rebel scum. Prepare yourself for the Star Wars Impossible quiz. Blast them.
Okay, so like I said earlier, I don't know if anybody wasn't listening, I did most of the questions they're either off of one of the movies or it's about stormtroopers. Most of them are about stormtroopers because, we have diverse female stormtrooper on here. So I figured, hey, let's do some stormtrooper questions. Okay, so what is the difference? Question number one. Let me what is the difference in a stormtrooper commander's armor from other stormtroopers' armor?
Is it the pauldron?
No.
That would be a
The
sand
orange
trooper, huh?
thing.
That's the
orange,
pauldron.
like,
That's a
sleeve.
pauldron.
Oh, fuck. I'm stupid.
But that would be a sand trooper.
Chris said the
She's
shoulder
like,
wing.
dumbass.
Okay, answer. They're actually blue-black. They're blue, black, and white, and they have a blue stripe down the right side of the helmet.
Oh, and like a clone trooper. But
Yeah,
not like
well,
a stormtrooper.
actually, it says all stormtroopers in the encyclopedia, so I don't know.
Do you
Maybe
ever
they did
see
something
a
different. Who
stormtrooper
knows?
like that? Wait, I think I
I
have
remember
one.
seeing that on Battlefront, Kyle.
Okay, that's what it says in the encyclopedia. I'm reading it. I come up with the questions out there.
No, I believe the internet never lies. It's definitely real.
I actually have all the encyclopedias to Star Wars. I have like every Star Wars book ever created.
Awesome.
Because that's what I do on my other podcast. My other podcast, I go over the Star Wars books, so I get all the books. What is a stormtrooper? What is a stormtrooper's armor made out of?
Plastic, definitely. I have it. They're made out of plastic. Plastic and Velcro. Not good ballistic plastic.
Did you keep yours from the set? Did they let you keep yours?
I don't wear the costume on set.
Oh, yeah, okay. You just do the voice, right?
Yeah, Samantha Elaine is wearing... Well, what's interesting is that there's another actress, Samantha Elaine, and she's a woman on set in the costume, but she's not in my costume, like, if that makes sense. Like, the character that I play that talks to Kylo Ren is not her body. It's some random dude who has been dubbed with my voice, and she is in some other scene. So I guess we're both technically the first female stormtroopers, just in different ways. But no, I just have like an Anovos.
Chris said cardboard.
Isn't it plastoid? Something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right. For sure.
So what the encyclopedia says is iron encased in hardened white armor.
No, definitely no. Iron? Absolutely not.
That's what it's supposed to be made of.
No,
Bro.
But I'm like, dude, they get shot real easy for it to be iron. Like the blasters just go right through that shit and kill them.
And they would be so strong. Like what? Like they're knights is what you're saying.
Yeah.
They're knights. Absolutely not.
That's what it's supposed to be. That's what their armor is supposed to be made out of.
No, I disagree. Wrong.
Yeah. I think it's really made out of plastic, and the Empire didn't give a shit about them because they just get shot with anything and they're dead.
Who cares?
They get hit with a rock and they die. We see them. Several of them get killed in Return of the Jedi by the Ewoks. So I don't know if it's armor, but that's what it says in the encyclopedia. Okay. A stormtrooper transport can hold how many stormtroopers?
60.
No.
A transport,
I
like
actually don't know.
The transport that flies them in.
that flies them in.
Yeah, like the ship that flies them in.
30.
Like Like
30?
Like 200.
Maybe
Oh,
20.
actually, Garrison got it. It's 30.
30.
Are you Googling shit again?
No.
I'm gonna start listening for your
No.
microphone. If it starts fucking up, because you already said that your microphone fucks up when you get on
Exactly.
other shit.
Did my microphone fuck up? No. So
I don't know. I'm gonna go back and check it because I think you be Googling shit. Okay, what is the classification name for a Star Wars transport? What is it called? Like, what is the ship called?
Spaceship.
Spaceship.
I don't know.
Shit, I didn't know this when I was reading it. I was like, fuck, I don't know this. Like, what the hell? It is actually called a Delta Class DX-9 transport.
Of course. That was my other guess. That was my next guess.
Right.
You should have just said it.
Yeah, shit. I should have. Really should have.
God damn it.
Okay.
There's no world where I've ever known any of this information, despite.
Hey, I didn't know any of
you
this
knew the
information
little,
until I
like,
started making
I
up the
can't remember
questions.
the
I was
word
like, shit, I
anymore.
don't know none of this shit. Like, I just watched Star Wars and enjoyed it. I don't know what the fuck is all this technical shit. I don't know all this shit. That's why they said get Dave Filoni. Everybody's been said Dave Filoni knows everything that there is to know about Star Wars. So I'm like, dude, I got to get him on here because I think I can stump him. There's something that he don't know.
Yeah.
There's something.
Okay, how many pieces make up a stormtrooper's armor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait. Chest, back, bottom, front, bottom, back, thigh boxes, calf, shoulder pauldron, shoulder bells, the bicep pieces, the forearm pieces. What we're at like 15. You have a helmet. You have the like blaster thing on the back. So we're like 18. Did I say the hand things already? I don't think so. That'd be like 20.
This is dope.
And then you have the actual belt that goes over the bottom part, the cod piece. So like 21. I don't know if boots count, right? That would be 21 or 22. You have the undersuit, which would be like 23. You have the neck rings thing, would be 24. You have the little comm mic thing, which is optional potentially, is 25.
Jeez.
You would have the hood underneath the helmet, which would be 26.
You got the underwear you got to wear. You got the.
Well, that's the bodysuit. Then you would have a blaster with a holster. So we're at like 28. So we're gonna say it has to be somewhere between like 28 and 32.
What the encyclopedia says is 18 pieces of white armor
Wrong.
covering a two-piece temperature control bodysuit.
Wrong.
She's like,
She says it's wrong. I agree with her because I've seen her Instagram.
I
She's
literally
been in a
just went
costume
through
before.
it. I just itemized the
She just named off every single piece. So I'm pretty sure she's right and this fucking encyclopedia is wrong.
Itemized it.
Yeah, they must have said. I don't know if it's just what they said on the encyclopedia. So I don't know if
Maybe,
it's the
like, in the
fucking. It might be
universe,
like
that's
just the
how many
actor,
pieces
what they
it
do,
is.
put the actors in, or
That
if it
would
might
still
be
wrong.
It would still be wrong, huh? Yeah, because 18 pieces. You named off 18 pieces before we even got off the top part of the body.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this is like in universe how many pieces, and
That would still be wrong. Because even if
you got
look
the
at
hands,
picture
she said the
of
boots.
guy, you have to
I wonder
have-
if
you
they're
have,
counting all this.
1, 2, 3. So you have 3 on each arm plus the shoulder
Yeah,
bell,
but
which
maybe
is
they're all
4.
meant to be like kind of
They
one,
couldn't
kind of
connected.
connected.
You couldn't do that because then you couldn't move then.
Yeah, that's
You'd be
fair.
all like them fucking old G.I. Joe men that couldn't move their arms and shit. Their arms was all stuck. Okay.
Impossible. Wrong.
What did a stormtrooper carry in a fully loaded utility belt?
You have the little blaster thing on the back, the like thermal detonator. You have a comm mic. You would have the little handcuffs. You would have the 2 little hangy boxes. I don't know what they're for. You have a blaster.
An extra charging thing for the blaster. No.
I mean, some of them have that like Z8 or Z6 baton or whatever it's called, but not all of them.
And a 9mm Glock to cap
Yeah,
it off.
and then
9mm Glock.
yeah.
For just in case. Y'all
And
was-
then snacks.
so this is what
got some
this is what it
Cheerios.
says in the my brain ain't working.
Encyclopedia.
No, it's but it's the character encyclopedia. It says they carried a power pack, what the hell is that
Snacks?
word?
Rations.
Snacks.
Rations, that's it, rations. Compact tool, kit, grappling hook, comlink, micro binoculars, handcuffs.
What?
Well, handcuff binders, and then the deionizer, which is the freaking thermal detonator thing. So that's what it says is carried on a fully loaded utility belt.
All right.
Chris in the chat.
That's about right. Verona, you got it almost all right. I think you said all of that.
I didn't get the binocs, but I would only think that a sand trooper would have binocs, because why would you need binoculars on a
the Death Star?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. But it says fully loaded.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
That's a fully loaded one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris,
that's done with the now we're
spray.
done with the stormtrooper stuff, and which we're gonna have to go back and double check, because I'm pretty sure that Verona was right, and there's way more pieces to the fucking stormtrooper armor than 18, because that doesn't make no sense.
Yep.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Question number 7. Which one of Luke Skywalker's friends worked on Tashi Station?
Fuck, you ask this question every time, and every time I forget the answer.
I ain't never asked this question before.
I swear we've asked this question before.
We've asked stuff about Tashi Station, but not this one. He had a certain friend that worked there.
Yeah.
Rick.
Rick. Donald. No. His name was Fixer.
Fixer.
According to whom?
This was in
Is it in a
the
book?
character encyclopedia. Mm-hmm. Some of them are in the overall encyclopedia. Some of them are in the character encyclopedia.
Not in the movie. How the fuck am I supposed to know? You know what I'm
Well, they
saying?
didn't really ever go to Tashi Station. So
I know.
like,
He
unless
wanted
you
to
didn't-
go, but he
I think
couldn't
the only
go.
time that the only time you have to watch the deleted scenes to find out what their names were. And then how would you know? I don't think he ever fucking says who works there
Yeah.
in the deleted scenes.
Yeah.
Okay, the multi-limbed robot that was for sale by the Jawas in the Star Wars New Hope. What kind of droid was that?
The red one?
Droid.
The one that was like on that little track thing that was rolling and had all them arms coming off the top of it?
Oh, a medical
I don't
droid.
know. I
What?
have
A
no
medical
idea.
droid? For in the desert?
Swiss Army droid.
Swiss Army droid, that's a good one. Swiss
that,
Army
that's
droid, that's a
good.
really good one. It was actually called the Treadwell robot.
I bet my husband would know
The
all of these
Treadwell?
things, and he would just be so disappointed that I'm like sitting here being like, I don't know. He'd be like, it's the Treadwell droid. And I'd be like, "I'm sorry."
It's crazy because, like, I know a shit ton because I like listened to or read all the books, but when I get down into it, I'll be like, God damn, I didn't know that. What the fuck? I should know that. I should have known
Right.
that. I should have known that. I don't know none of that shit. Because before we used to have somebody else that was on, we had another person, Charlie, that used to do the Star Wars Impossible quiz on
Yeah.
here, but then she left the podcast.
Yeah.
And she used to ask questions. I'd be just sitting there like, what the fuck? I don't know the answer to that shit. Nobody knows the answer to this damn question.
Yeah.
And then when I got sent over to start doing it, I was like, dude, I should know all these damn answers. I've read every damn book ever.
Yeah.
Okay. The two-headed alien announcer during the pod race in the Phantom Menace were of what species?
Oh, no. This is not information I've retained. 100% have not retained this information. The pod race, what a scene. Wow. The only good thing about the pod race is Sebulba, because he's just cool, and also Aura Singh, and the rest of it can get fucked.
Yeah, well,
I don't know how
I'm
many.
guessing that Aurora Singh is one of your favorite characters.
I did the first ever Aura Singh costume. I wore it for Halloween '99.
Wow,
first
that's a
one.
long time ago.
Ever. Yeah.
And for anybody that wants to know, y'all go look at Verona Blue's, go look at her Instagram. Your Instagram is awesome.
Thanks.
Like I was sitting there and I was like looking through your Instagram for like 2 hours. I was like, dude, she got so many cool ass pictures. Like, yeah, your Instagram is like
thanks.
one of the most colorful and just you got so many cool ass pictures on there. It's great.
Well,
Like
thanks.
anyway, everybody go look at her Instagram. Okay, so the answer is a
Spider-Man.
Troy from the planet Polaris. Polaris, or how I can't even say that damn word.
Polaris.
It's Pollillus. Polaris.
Polaris?
I don't know how to say that
Polaris.
shit.
Great.
Yeah, it's just it's crazy. Okay, last question. What was the name of the droid that pops out of Jabba's palace door when C-3PO knocks on it in Return of the Jedi?
Oh, that's such a good question.
What'd you say, Garrison?
That is such a good question.
And it's that annoying. That's the one that does that shit. What was his? What type of droid was that? What was?
A droid?
I definitely knew this
eyeball looking thing.
Yeah, I don't know the eyeball that comes when and it goes.
Oh. The Eye of Sauron, Chris.
The Eye of Sauron. Some crazy shit from Book of Thrones or Game of Thrones.
It's like the gate droid or something. Gate.
Y'all gonna beat yourselves up when I tell y'all the answer to this one.
The security butler droid.
The security butler droid, kind of, it is a security droid, but it has a very distinctive name that we've all called somebody at one time or another.
Doorbell.
Dumbass.
Dumbass.
What?
Stupid people. I'll give y'all a hint. It's probably something that you said to either a cousin or a little brother or a little sister when they did something.
Dumbass.
Dumbass.
Dumb.
It was called the Tattletale droid. It's a TT-8L Tattletale.
Hey, I was perfect. They had nothing to tell on, Kyle.
Oh, I used to get tattletaled on all the damn time. I was always doing some stupid shit, getting in trouble. My little brother was a snitch. He told on me all the damn time.
I'm the youngest, so I don't know.
Oh, so you was the tattletale. You was the one telling on everybody, all the older ones, huh?
Look at me. You think I'm a rat? Look at this.
I don't think
you
you're
see
a rat.
this?
Oh, y'all, and plus, y'all got to go look at her Instagram too, because she has a pink Harley, right? It's a Harley?
It's not a Harley, but I do have a pink motorcycle, yeah. It's
and
it
has...
a pink glittery motorcycle.
And it has the Empire logo on the tank. It is dope as shit. Yeah. It is so dope. I have an
Imperial symbol on my motorcycle, and I also have an Imperial symbol on my car. I drive a Mini, and I also have it on my car.
You have it on your car, too?
Yeah.
See, I'm about to start.
It was my first tattoo. Is this?
You drive a Mini Cooper and a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I love how well-rounded that is.
I mean, I just like compact, efficient, vehicles.
Hey, shit. Gas miles, especially with gas. How much you paying for gas out there? Like $10 a gallon in LA?
A gajillion dollars. It's gone down, but at its peak, it was like $7 or $8. I think it's down to like $5.50.
That's why I moved from there. I had to get away from that expensive ass place.
My husband's car is a Tesla, so we usually take the electric car because it's way cheaper.
Yeah, way cheaper.
Way cheaper.
Which is crazy because, we have a republic of, the Democrats and Republicans and all this crazy shit going on in our country that they're over here. You got to get an electric car. Well, they got to produce electricity. They use coal and fossil fuels to produce the electricity that charges the car. So it's the same damn thing. Like, I don't get it. Politics blows my fucking mind. I just be like, what the hell are y'all talking about? That shit don't make no sense. Buy this car because it's going to save the world, but you got to use the same fuel that powers the fucking regular car to get the electricity to this car. Like, it's the same shit. I don't get it. Well, Miss Verona, we're going to let you get off of here because we know that you have to go and take your puppy to the thing, to the vet, which is like, I don't miss that.
I have so many dogs. I just spend I spend all of my money on vet bills and tattoos. So I have no money.
Hey, that's big.
Just tattoos and vet bills for very small dogs.
Hey, soon enough,
could be worse, I guess.
You keep getting tattoos, you'll run out of skin. Then you can put all your money towards the dogs.
Great, terrific. What a fucking plan. I hate it. Thank you so much. The sleeve, so I have a Star Wars sleeve on one arm, but my other one, I have these like flames here that used to be really bright and all the ink fell out of them. Like it used to be like red into orange into yellow. So now I have to get the whole fucking thing tattooed again. So maybe it will never end. Maybe the ink will just keep falling out and I could just keep redoing it.
Hey, that would be kind of cool.
They got different inks
then you're
now.
like, get one tattoo for 10 years, the ink falls out. Well, let's try another one.
No, man, it hurts, man. I don't want to do it again. I did it once already.
It hurt the first time. Oh, I'll tell you right now, The worst pain when I got my chest done. That was the worst pain ever. Oh my God. Like people say it's like in here on your sides, that shit didn't hurt me really. They say, oh, on your back. I fell asleep when I got my back done. But on my chest, oh my God, it was like I was on fire. I was like, oh God, man, this shit is, are we done yet? And then somebody had the bright ass idea. They told me, hey, take a Vicodin. I took a Vicodin. That shit was so much worse. I said, this is the wrong type of fucking pain here, man. This is not the same type of pain as like you got a broken leg or something. This shit hurts. Yeah. It was so more intensified. I said, man, you assholes.
Dude, that's what's weird because I've never gotten one, but I've always asked people and they give me different responses. Like Addison, she's like, nah, it's no big deal. Kyle's like, it's the pain of hell.
It depends on where you get it at.
Yeah. Like honestly,
because like my arms, like all my arms and stuff, that shit didn't hurt.
Yeah.
None of my arms hurt at all. My back didn't hurt. Yeah. The only thing that hurt me that really like in here on my sides didn't hurt. Everybody says that's like the most painful. Like that shit really didn't hurt. Just on my chest. And it was like right when he was getting close to the bone. Like, I was like, oh, my God, Jesus. Like, my body started heating up. I felt like I was going to throw up. I was like, oh, dude, I got to take a break. That shit hurt like a bitch.
I had my foot tattooed. Foot sucked. You know, like this. Oh, wait, here. Like this in here.
That looks so painful. What are you doing?
Did not feel great for sure. But like all of this was like totally fine. I had like my inner thigh tattooed. I had like a giant giraffe. And like the closer you get to your groin, the more you just want to die. Like even after, because it's like huge, that like for a week after it was so swollen because it's like so the parts of your body that are so sensitive, it just you can't like walk around. Like it was just like having surgery. It was brutal. So anyway, I don't want to do it again. I just want to finish. And then I don't have to do it anymore. And then I look cool because I'm all tattooed and I don't have to do it anymore.
So I had one more question before you leave. Yeah. I know you got to get off here quickly.
Yeah.
What made you go with the blue hair and all the piercings and stuff?
That's a great question.
My oldest daughter is really into that.
That's a great question. So the blue hair is because I always wanted purple hair ever since I was really little. I just really liked it. I don't know. I just wanted purple hair. Wait, stay with me. So I really wanted purple hair. And then when I was old enough to start dyeing my hair, when my parents said I was old enough, and I was about 17 years old, and they were like, okay, you can, because I was in like an academic school that had like a uniform and stuff like that. So they like tried to keep me away from, breaking the uniform too soon. But by the time I was about 17, they're like, okay, you can dye your hair. I started dating a guy who had blue hair. And so I was like, well, I can't have the same hair color as him. That would be crazy. So instead of dyeing it purple, I dyed it blue. He had purple hair. So I dyed mine blue because it was close to purple and we wouldn't be matchy-matchy. And then I just have had blue hair ever since. It was like, oh, this is my whole identity now. So I can't ever change it.
It looks good.
Thanks. And then the tattoos and the piercings is just because I'm a weirdo. Like I like counterculture. I like being unapproachable. It's very popular now, but like the idea of being very antisocial is like very attractive to me. I love hand tattoos. That's why I just
go to the gym, get really big, and it has the same effect.
People just fuck right off.
It is great. No, I get exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. I just don't want people to talk to me in public, and this is the thing now is that like sort of being alternative, goth girl, whatever is like very popular. And so everybody thinks you're nice. And like, I guess I am nice, but I don't want you to know that. Like, I don't want you to talk to me in the street. I don't have a conversation about it.
But when you do have like the odd conversation, people seem so surprised that they're like, oh, they are nice. Like they're expecting you to be evil.
Yeah.
How many times have you had to take your piercings out because of a role?
I have. It's interesting because like, obviously, they're in most of my photos, like my headshots. I have pictures of me with and without them. And I have some pictures of me where like my tattoos are really obvious and then some where my tattoos are more covered. So I sort of arrange, but like I always have blue hair right in them. Right. So there is certainly a spectrum of like how edgy I look in my photos. For Bosch, they had me take the piercings out. I don't actually know why, because I still had like my mohawk and everything, but they just asked me to take them out. So I took them out. I did a movie for Disney and I took them out and they also covered my hand tattoos and had me in like long sleeves and like it was very weird, extremely modest costume, but I still had my mohawk, but I had all my stuff out. And then for other things, like I just did an episode of VHS, which is the horror anthology, comes out in October. And like, we made my character's like more extreme. Like I have like shock white makeup on and I got like a safety pin that I put through my nose instead of my regular jewelry and like went like really big with it. So it kind of just depends on like who the audience is. You know, when you're doing stuff for Disney, even if they want you to be kind of edgy, they definitely want the glossy, toned down version of it, the like more family friendly version. Or when you're doing like
Disney.
when you're doing like a horror movie, they're like, be as fucked up as you can possibly be. Be as scary, weird, angry, huge, you know, go all out. So I do take, it doesn't bother me either way. You know, it's a job. And if they like my acting and the thing that's holding them back from letting me play in that world is like, I have lip rings, I'll take them out. I'm not offended. Great. The character doesn't have her lips pierced. Terrific. I don't care.
It's funny.
Well,
like,
Verona,
Disney,
we
edgy
appreciate.
is like show off your elbows.
Yeah. I was like, it's me. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to cover up your elbows. You have to cover up everything. Good, my stormtrooper will be showing. Yeah, that's cool that you got. Like I said, that when I was talking to the guys, I was like, we got to get her on there. I said she's a real Star Wars fan. She's not one of those. You know, because like I said, we've talked to people and it's like, you've acted in Star Wars, but you don't even like Star Wars. Like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Star Wars. Like, what do you think? What? Like, dude, like, why would you even want to be in a Star Wars movie then? But, you know, I get it's a job.
A job is a job, I guess. But yeah, I do think like for these huge franchises that have like so much history and such rabid fandom, like it really sucks for somebody who like doesn't care about it because the fans are so invested and like, especially with Star Wars, like Dave Filoni is like so invested in making this world really interesting and fun for everyone. And all the people, like I have friends who are costumers on Mandalorian and Boba Fett and like who make the armor and whatever, like they love it. It's so fun for them. They're so grateful that they are able to work on it. So I haven't been able to work on any of the TV shows and I have such bad FOMO because like I really want to. Like I almost can't watch the shows because I feel so left out. Because I'm like, but why can't I work on it? Just because like it feels so within reach for me as an actor because I've worked on all these other Star Wars properties, being like, but why don't they want me for this show? But I could be, you know, and I'm friends with like Chris Bartlett who does like the C-3PO, all those those kinds of droids. For Red Carpet, and he does a lot of the droid creatures in all the new television shows, and we chat a lot. I'm like, hey man, if you got a droid costume that will fit me, like let me know. I will be there bright and early because I really just want to be involved. And the fact that there are people who like get that opportunity and don't even care, like really breaks my heart. Really sucks. Really sucks.
I bet you're aware that would suck.
Yeah.
Well, Verona, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks, guys.
If you could just let the fans know where they can reach out to you at and, you know, where they can see your content and anything that you're allowed to tell the fans.
Yeah. On Instagram, I go under Bathory, Bathori. I don't post too much, but I do post some cool, fun things, whatever, you know.
Your Instagram is awesome.
I also have a TikTok under Verona Blue, which is my name. And I also make weird content there sometimes. I yell or retweet things on Twitter, same under Bathory, Bathori. That's sort of it. I usually answer all of my messages. I'm happy to have conversations with people and answer their own questions if they have questions about Star Wars or acting or voice acting. I'm usually, if I'm available, I'll like totally, you know, if people are interested in getting into voice acting and they have more questions, I'm happy to like share what I can with everyone. I'm always happy to like help people follow their dreams, and especially when it comes to Star Wars. So I mean, I got to live mine, so like 100% on board for letting other people into that world if I can. But thank you guys so much. This is really fun. That quiz is very hard. And
actually, I made it easy. I figured that you would have known.
Well,
you got. I think you answered the how many pieces in Star Wars or in the Stormtrooper armor better than what they got in the encyclopedia.
Yes.
And you got everything on the
almost
utility belt except the micro binoculars. You got everything else. So hey, that was cool.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, guys. We would definitely like to have you on in the future, and we will because this was a lot of fun.
I'll let you know if I do any more Star Wars stuff, and we can come talk about it.
Oh, we can talk about some other stuff. I wanted to know about more stuff, but with the limited time, because you had to leave, I didn't want to get into some of the other questions.
Next time, guys. Have a great one. Talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
All right.
That was fun.
Yeah, sorry guys, we was kind of in a little bit of a rush because she had to leave, so you know we didn't do the housebreaker to start off with, and you know I know that you guys have some some questions that we didn't get to. So sorry. We'll get her back on again. She said she'll come back on. We talked to her a little bit before we went on air, and she said she would love to come back on.
She's
so
cool.
when she's super cool. But we're gonna talk a little bit
pretty.
about,
She's pretty
What'd
too.
Yeah, she's very pretty, especially, and she's tatted out. I love tatted
Dude,
women.
I was like, ooh.
Well, when you're looking at some of her pictures, like on Instagram and stuff, she looks kind of crazy. Like, oh shit, man, what the fuck?
But when she's talking, she's like, wow, she's.
Yeah, she's very
All
pretty.
right, anyways.
And I was good, y'all. I was good because when she was talking about the camera being in her face, I was thinking about other things being in her face.
Shut up. Now she's definitely not gonna want to come back, Kyle. God.
No, I was not me personally. You know, I'm married. I don't think about stuff like that with other women. But you know, when she was saying, like, you know, she was like, you know, you just turn your face and it's like right there in your face. You're about to hit your face on the camera. I'm like, yeah, I bet you can hit your face on some other stuff too. That's what I was going to say. Nah.
You suck.
Hey, you know how I am, but I was good, y'all. I was good. Chris, Jesus, she's not coming back now.
She's not coming back now. There's no way in hell.
Nah, she'll come back. You can tell and that's the thing is, you know, most of the, like, one of the things that I've noticed just, you know, from my career and you know, and the stuff that's been, you know, the people that we talked to on the podcast and stuff, these are normal people. She probably was, as soon as I said what I said, she probably was thinking the exact same thing. Like, I know what he was going to say, you know, but it's all good. So you want to let's talk a little bit about Andor, because I know we didn't really get to cover that much of it on Wednesday just because Christopher hadn't seen it yet, so we kind of didn't really get to talk about it that much. And there's a lot of stuff to cover in Andor. There's a lot. So
Oh my gosh.
let's talk a little bit about that, because we really didn't get to give our, you know, what we thought of each episode. We didn't get to rate each episode. We didn't get to do none of that stuff. So let's talk about it now. What do you think? Okay, in episode 1, what was your favorite part of episode 1, Garrison?
Oh, now I got to think back. What was in episode 1? Definitely the beginning, dude. Like, immediately. Because, oh, man, that's actually a great question. Because, like, going in, we're hearing Disney talking about, like, this is going to be our most mature Star Wars movie. And so I was like, I don't know. It's still coming from Disney. What does that even mean? Immediately you go in, like, the first scene, he's in a brothel. And you're like, okay, wow. They were serious. And just right from that beginning, it was like, all right, Disney's serious about, like, making a real dark Star Wars. I'm along for the ride. Because for once, it just felt like all the stuff they're promising, they're actually following through. And so it immediately hooked me because I felt like all the hype was real. And so already I was, instead of going in with like the critical, all right, let's see if they actually do what they said they're going to do. Immediately I was like, oh shit, they're doing it. Let's go. So I was, yeah.
I will tell you, that was my favorite part, was the beginning, because of one of the reasons, like you said, they start off in a brothel. It was kind of weird. Then he asked about his sister, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I'm saying? What,
like,
you're trying to
Disney went way too far with that one.
like, you said it was supposed to be adult. This is way adult. Like, you bringing in some shit. But then when they attack him in the little alleyway or whatever they was, and he headbutts the dude and spins and grabs the other dude's gun, and he gets the gun out of his hand, and the dude dies. Like, right there, he already killed one person. Then the dude's trying to come over to, hey, this is what we'll tell him, man. You know, this is what will happen. And then he just shoots the dude in the face. And like, dude, like, you see the blast bolt come out, and you don't see it hit him right in the face, so you don't see his face explode. But the way that they captured it, I really like that, because that goes back to like that, you know, the old school movies where you know that the killer's gonna kill the chick in the fucking, like what's his face? I can't think of his name. The director, you know, like Psycho director, where you know the dude's killing her in the bathroom, but you don't really see the thing. It allows your imagination to see what happens, and I really like that. So they kept it less than rated R, you know, because you seen his face splatter off, you know, and the bolt come out the back of his head, then they'd have to make it rated R. But it gave you enough that you could use your imagination to view what was happening.
And that helped.
Another thing that I liked was that during the action, you seen the camera shake. But the rest of the time, it was smooth. It was smooth shit, like it's supposed to be. Camera shake and camera movement is supposed to show an emotion. It's supposed to give you an emotional response. You see the excitement, you see the cameras moving, you know, and they're jumping scenes real fast to see you show you different things. And the camera's shaking a little bit, and it's not just randomly shaking. It was done way better. Plus, when the bolt came out, the sound released right before the bolt comes out, just like sound travels. So, I mean, it was realistic. It didn't seem like fake to me. And it was way more, the whole scoring on it was great. The music on it was great. And that's on all 3 episodes. All 3 of the episodes, the music was great. The sound effects, the scoring, everything was great on it. The camera movements, the way they zoomed in at right times to give you that emotional response, the way they did the wide angles, just everything was done phenomenally. I couldn't find really anything wrong with the first 3 episodes, and I watched it 3 times now, and I really couldn't find anything that I found to criticize about. Yeah. It did get a little bit slow going from the beginning of the first to the second, and then go before the action in the third, but it told a story. Exactly. It really told a story, and it built up. I
didn't have a problem with the slow, because it was still telling a story.
And it built up anticipation, so you were excited about finding out what happened. It really built up that anticipation of like, okay, are they going to catch him? You know what I'm saying? Because basically he's running for his life. He done committed 2 murders, and he got to get away. And they're coming up with the thing. I also like the part where the head chief dude is talking to the little cop guy, and he's like, dude, we're going to blow this over. And this dude's like really not paying attention. He's like, nope, I'm going to go after this criminal. I'm going to find him. And he's like, dude, blow that shit off, man. We can't. These dudes was out doing shit they wasn't supposed to be doing, and they fucked around and got themselves killed. We're not going to chase after this guy. And he does it anyway. And I really like that storyline, like, you know, that you got a politician back there saying, we're not going to mess with this because we got to worry about the politics of our planet. You know, we got to worry about this. I got to go to this convention or whatever it is, and I gotta go tell these people about this, and you know, we don't need all this publicity and all this bullshit going on. We need to, it's a safe and secure area. And it's kind of like how the Empire is. The Empire, we are safe and secure, but they're not telling about that they're enslaving people and building Death Stars and, you know what I'm saying, doing all this shit. So it really gave you that Star Wars feeling. It's crazy for it not to really have no Jedi, no Force, no none. It still felt very Star Wars to me.
For sure.
It really did. You've seen a lot of the aliens that gave you a lot of concepts, and they just made you feel like it was Star Wars. Even though it didn't have like the Force and Jedi. Usually when stuff doesn't have the Force or Jedi in it, it doesn't really feel Star Wars to me. Like Rogue One didn't feel Star Wars. It was a great movie, but it didn't feel Star Wars to me. Until they got to the battle at the end. Then it felt more like Star Wars when, you know, you was actually having a battle. But the rest of the time, it didn't really feel like Star Wars. It was a great movie, just didn't feel like Star Wars to me. This felt like Star Wars to me. It felt like a Star Wars, like, because I don't know if it was the story or if it was just the way things was playing out, but you seen like the progression of what was happening. They showed the one young captain dude. He was the bad guy, and you know, I don't know. And then just the kind of the flashbacks. That was something that I think they should have put the flashbacks in different areas or did them differently, because that was kind of weird. Like, what the hell? What are you trying to explain here? Like when he was dreaming, like I understood that. Like, okay, he's having a dream. He's dreaming about. But some of the other ones, they just popped up in weird areas. So that was something that I didn't really care for too much.
I agree. I think that's my biggest gripe is the flashbacks were put in some kind of weird spots that I didn't really think flowed very well. It's still early, but right now I don't see the point in the flashbacks really. Like I don't really. But hopefully that'll be solved later. But I think the big thing is like it's still like in Rogue One he says I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Because he wasn't 6 in them flashbacks. Chris says, my only gripe is that it's definitely know why they released 3 episodes to start. I thought the first 2 episodes were really slow, and they were, because they were building up the storyline. And then he said the whole jealous boyfriend plot was a little cliche. And yeah, I do agree with that. But you got to think about damn near every major battle in world history, you can find out a female that has something to do with it. Like there was a female involved somewhere, somehow. Right. So that was definitely it was a little bit cliche, but it was appreciated because somebody had to snitch on him for him to find out that he was on the planet, and them setting up, you know, the boyfriend thinking that he's messing with the girlfriend. That was just an easy way to send that into that general direction. And I think that's why they use it. A lot of times in movies, we see that just because it's easy. It's one of the easiest ploys to do and to get somebody into a general direction. You know, you get mob, you got somebody either snitching or it has to do with a girl that kind of brings in the bad guys into the situation. And since these guys are like they're not really part of the Empire, but they are part of the Empire. Because that's kind of like the way it's described, like, you know.
Well, yeah, and that's what I've kind of liked about it. It's like seeing how the Empire works and how they kept control. And it looks like they're contracting out like private military or private security companies to do some of their dirty work, and I like that. It's cool.
And it was kind of cool because, you know, most of the time when you think about like Star Wars and, you know, people coming after the criminal or whatever, and since Andor is the criminal in this, you think about stormtroopers coming. Right. And they brought in the security force, and it made it different. It made it a little bit so it wasn't so just in your face Star Wars. It was kind of like, let's build up to the Star Wars type of thing, because we know there's going to be stormtroopers in there. We know that there's going to be, you know, saying some different things that have to do with the Empire, but they didn't just like lead right into that. They kind of left it open a little bit so they can take you in a general direction.
I feel like it's going to play into the lore of Star Wars, like why the Empire chose to, instead of sending stormtroopers, why are they sending private contractors? Maybe it's
another thing that I kind of really didn't
with money and power.
Another thing that I kind of really didn't like was, like, why didn't the dude just come out and say it? Like, leave that fucking thing there. We don't need that shit. I'm trying to get you to join the rebellion. He's just letting Andor keep going after that damn box, and shit's falling and people shooting at him. Like, fuck that box, man. Just come on. Like, we don't need that box. Just come with me. Don't worry about it. We don't need that box. He kind of just was, he didn't really just say it. He kind of just was like, hey, you know, just fuck that box. You know what I'm saying? Come on. He wasn't really, he just didn't blatantly say it. And that was kind of like, just blatantly say it. I was like screaming, just tell him to say, fuck that box. Come on, man. Get the fuck out of here. You
fuck the box.
Like, why did he just come out and say it? Like, it was just kind of like, dude, why are you, he just letting him kind of do it. I guess maybe he was just trying to see what was going to happen. Like, how far is he willing to go? Is he willing to give up his life for this box? Let me see how far he's willing to go to, you know what I'm saying? And if he's going to go that far just over a box, how far will he really go for the rebellion? Right. Because the dude didn't even care about the box in the fucking first place. Like, you could tell the whole time when they were talking, he didn't care about that damn box. He wanted Andor, which is kind of cool because it shows us how Andor really got into the rebellion.
By being dope.
You know what I'm saying? I think they did a great job. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect by no means. Way better than fucking Kenobi and freaking Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. What I'll say to that is I think it's probably the best Disney's done since Mandalorian. But I also feel like we might be kind of used to Disney's other stuff. And so it's kind of brought down our expectations a little bit, which is why we're so pleasantly surprised. I don't think
and we kind of knew that was coming.
I don't think it's as good as how we feel it is. Like, I feel it's super good, but objectively, like, I don't know if it's actually that good or if it's just because I have such low expectations.
Well, honestly, what makes it a lot better to me is the realism. It just it felt more real. It felt more like something that could like happen here. You know what I'm saying? Than like Obi-Wan and Book of Boba Fett did. I think Obi-Wan and Book of Boba Fett were more meant to like bring these characters into a better light for younger viewers. I think that's what they did. It's more childlike, which is not a bad thing, but at the same time, they didn't have really good stories. They pushed a lot of CGI, a lot of big effects. You know, they brought new characters in. They did a lot of different things. And us, as older fans, we're looking at it, people that are like real fans of Boba Fett. We're like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You just ruined Boba Fett, man. You turned him into a fucking cook. You know what I'm saying? This dude saving towns, and Obi-Wan, it's like, dude, this whole show is about Reva. Who the hell is Reva? And it just kind of threw us off. And then, and like you said, it could be that they intentionally made him mad to make Andor look better, because now we got such low expectations.
Right.
But, you know, and we don't know what Disney's whole plot, or, you know, we can speculate all we want, but we don't know what their plot, we don't know what their thing is. And I was thinking about that other day with the camera shake in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Kids, that's going to keep their attention. Younger people is going to keep their attention because there's a lot more movement. Somebody like us has been watching movies for years. We're going to look at that like, what the fuck is going on? Why you keep moving the damn? Why is the camera just shaking? This dude got Tourette's. You know what I'm saying? Got Parkinson's disease. They got a Parkinson's disease having camera guy. What the hell is going on? Like, the camera's just shaking during, like, they're just talking and the camera's shaking. Like, why is the camera shaking?
The first time I sat down to watch it, I sent in the group chat. I was like, oh, there's camera shake. Oh, no.
But, you know what I'm saying? In this, when the camera shakes, it's for a reason. Because there's actually action happening. You know, they're jumping scenes from side to side and doing different things because of action, and that's what draws attention to the action. It makes it more intensified. Like Obi-Wan, they just did that shit just all the time. Like, dude, what are you doing, man? They're just talking. Why is the camera shaking? Why you keep jumping from fucking side to side on just a conversation? You're supposed to jump from back to back, come over the shoulder. That's how you do a dialogue scene. And they're jumping side to side, from back to front, from wide angle. Like, well. But that's something that usually draws... It draws attention, and it causes to intensify the scene. So somebody younger that's looking at TikTok all the time, where they're just dancing and moving, it's constant movement and shit is just happening all the time, it's going to be more appealing to them. And that's, you know, so thinking about that, I kind of, does it make it any better? No, it just ruined it for me. But this had, you know, they just did the things right. And it just, I don't know, it just seemed like more mature. It seemed better. Let's see, Chris said, do you feel like the whole security force reaction in this episode 3 was a shot at our own law enforcement? I think it might be. And somebody said that, I think I've seen it on Reddit. I think it was Reddit. That somebody was talking about how they were going to put a lot more politics, like world politics, into Andor, something that we could relate to, because it's the things that we see every day. And, you know, you got these cops, you got this one asshole cop, this other real serious cop, and then you got these the other people that are just following the rules, and they're being sent into a situation that they're not really in a position of, they're not ready for that. And I think that's kind of what we've seen. We'll see if there's more that comes out in it. But I think it was, you know, you had that, you know, the investigator, he's trying to catch this dude. You got the snitch. It was almost like watching some Law and Order, you know, in our time.
We see a lot of those archetypes all the time in like cop TV shows. And I think it just reflects a little bit in real life law enforcement. All cops are not the same. Some cops really care about their job and really want to do a good job. And then unfortunately, I think we know some cops are not the
assholes,
best, and kind of dicks.
But I think it made it more relatable, though.
Yeah, exactly. So
it did. It made it more relatable,
think it was
because
necessarily a shot. I think it was more just like, oh, this is something that people can relate to.
Because we see that type of plot pushed in so many of the TV series that we see every single day. It's like, why not throw this in there? Because we know that it works, and we know that it's more adult. Right. You don't see in a cartoon the same shit happening, or, you know, a child's thing. It makes it more adult. It makes it more relatable to what we can relate to it, because we deal with the things in our own lives. And I think that's what a lot of it brought to. So what would you rate?
Ooh.
How would you rate each
Or
episode?
overall? Oh, each episode. Flip.
Yeah, each episode. Let's rate each episode.
I'll feel like I need to go through each episode again, but one I think was probably a 7. 2 was probably a 6, and 3 was probably a 7.
Yeah, I agree with
So
you.
7, 6, 7.
I might go a little bit higher. One was probably
That's fair.
One would probably be to me like a 7. 2 would probably be a 6. I do agree with you, but I think 3 because of they didn't push the climax the way that I thought they would.
And they didn't rush
and it actually made it better. They kind of drew it out, and then they kind of brought in that anticipation. And
they didn't rush it too much.
Yeah, they didn't rush it. So I'll probably give 3 and 8.
Okay,
I would say 3 was
that.
pretty good.
You know,
I can't wait to see 4. I think 4 is going to be where. And then we got to talk about old girl, because old girl, she's pretty hot for being kind of dirty mechanic looking. When she came in and she took off her jacket when they were about to do it, you know, with the boyfriend, she was kind of hot. I was like, damn, she kind of hot.
Which is weird because I wasn't expecting it in Star Wars. Like, that's how, like,
yeah,
I guess used to Disney I was. When I saw that, I was like, oh.
And, you know, once again, with it being the PG-13 or whatever, how they ever classify these 14 now or whatever they classify, it kind of, like I said, they didn't show nothing. But it was implied enough that for an adult, we know what's going to happen. A kid's not going to know what happened. They're going to watch it and they're going to be like, oh, whatever, everybody, they went to bed. For an adult, they gave us enough information to apply the situation so we can imagine what happens without showing too much and making it where it's a rated R, you know what I'm saying, type of movie. And I thought that was pretty good.
Right. And before we get to Chris, yeah, I think it shows that Disney is able to make like good quality stuff. Like you can make stuff that's at least friendly to kids that kids can watch without making it stupid for adults. Like it's possible. Yeah. It can be done. And you've just proved that you know how to do it.
Well, come on. Disney got money. So Disney got some of the best writers and directors that there is. Lucasfilm is still.
Where has it been? Why is it just coming out now?
Like I said, and that's where it comes back to what are they making it for? Are they making Boba Fett for the younger viewers, the newer viewers, somebody that's going to be a viewer in 20 years, you know, Kenobi? Because they didn't really show too much. I mean, they show a person, like you got to look back at Star Wars. Like Star Wars, like The New Hope, that was like a rated, what was it, rated G or something like that? I don't even think it was PG-13. And you had people getting shot. But then times change, people come in complaining. You can't have people getting shot. You can't have people saying shit. And, you know what I'm saying? You can't do none of this. And now it's changed a little bit because the dude gets shot. You see the dude get shot. The boyfriend gets shot. But it wasn't like, bow, shot. And then it's like bloods and guts and everything everywhere. It was just a burn hole. He fell down. He was dead. So it's something that if a small child seen, they already know that. They watch shit. They see that shit in cartoons. You know what I'm saying? So they can still perceive them type of images and still lead adults to a point of where we know what's going on, you know what I'm saying, and we can use our imaginations and figure out what's going on. We can create the story, and a kid is going to be less harmed by, you know, seeing stuff like that because they see stuff like that on regular TV all the time. So I think it was a very well balanced thing. I think they did a very well balanced and just.
It was good.
It was, like I said, I like the first 3 episodes. Now, hopefully they keep up with this same type of environment and it doesn't get foolish and it goes on that same type of you know, down that same road. But we'll see. I mean, we'll definitely be talking about it next Wednesday when episode 4 comes out. Because I think that they're on the right page. And I think that they used a lot of practical effects, and they didn't use the big scene. You know, they actually built the little cities that they were in, and they're doing a lot more practical effects and not a lot of CGI. And you didn't see a lot of CGI in this. I mean, the CGI was like the spaceships flying, or you know, but most of it was like actual acting, actual people, actual sets, and it paid off for him because it really made it look a lot better than the CGI stuff.
I really have high hopes for the rest of the season because it definitely impressed me. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and I'm really excited for the rest of Andor.
Well, and the crazy thing is,
good to like
see some Star Wars that you want to see.
Yeah,
you want when you're anticipating.
Good to be like this right now.
It would kind of suck because, like in Kenobi and Boba Fett, I was like, "Oh man, I wonder what crap they're gonna put out next week." Instead of
now I'm excited for the next episode.
And I wasn't even excited for Andor. I didn't even want to watch Andor. I was like, I'm gonna watch it. Of course, it's Star Wars, but I'm not like that's not like a character that I really wanted to follow. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, he was good in Rogue One. The story told the story. It's over. You know, we went into A New Hope. It wasn't somebody that I figured that they should bring back and do a whole series about. But from what I seen on the first 3 episodes, like, yeah, it's very. I want to know more about the character. I want to know more about his backstory. I want to know more about why he's trying to find his sister. Well, I mean, we kind of got that in the first 3 episodes because, you know, that old lady kidnapped him off the planet and his little sister was there. So, you know, we kind of understand, but it's like, you know, how far is he going to go? Does he ever find his sister? I want to know these things now. I want to know what happened to his sister. You know, I want to know how did Andor get him, like, really got to the point where he was at, where he just started shooting people in the face and just didn't give a shit and will really do anything to help the Rebel Alliance to overthrow the Empire. I want to know all these things now. It wasn't a question that I had before when I watched Rogue One. It was cool and it led us right up to A New Hope. But now I want to know these things. Now that I watched the first 3 episodes, I want to know more information about him. I want to know more about the character. I want to know more about, you know, like I said, like his sister. Does he ever find his sister? I want to know these things. And hopefully that they push this narrative and they keep it going the way that they're going and they keep with the story. That was the biggest key point in this. It had a freaking story. And it wasn't rushed like some of the other series that they're trying to do in 6 episodes or 7 episodes that is so rushed that it loses fact of the story, and then they just get into doing CGI stuff and making it big bang and a lot of action going on, which I love action, but I want a story as well. And I think that they're pushing that narrative of having a good story, a good plot. And now I want to know more information about it.
Yeah,
so
they had good thoughts, subplots, themes, and stuff. Chris says, I guess I felt like it was, a shot at police because of the one security guard who kills the unarmed, jealous boyfriend. IDK, just me overthinking it.
I think you're right.
I can see where he thought that. For me, though, I kind of saw it as like humanizing the Empire. Like, because these security guards, they're not evil. They're not the Empire. They're just doing their job. So I think it was just a way of humanizing them and making them, all right, they're just doing their job. They're not necessarily a bad guy. The guy who accidentally shot him, like, instead of him shooting him, like, being a dick, he looked scared. Like, he shot because he was scared. And so I think it's just a way of humanizing that sometimes the people we view as, like, bad guys can just be, like, just as frustrated and kind of scared as you sometimes.
Yeah.
Because think of the American Revolution, like the Boston Massacre, the thing that, like, one of the key defining points of what made America start its revolution. It was really just the Boston officers kind of doing self-defense. It wasn't even like that bad of a thing. So I think it just shows like how revolutions can start, and they're messy and not everything is always black and white.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just in anything as you look through history. One of the things that used to get me is you'd read these history books and you'd read stuff that has to do with history. And it's like, oh, this is what happened. Well, then somebody told me, well, history is written by the victors.
Exactly.
So you're getting history by what they're telling you happened. You're not getting the actual history. And then when you start doing some research and you find out, you start reading books and stuff of other people that were there, and you start learning that dark side, and you're like, oh, shit, that happened? Oh, God, that was terrible.
Right. Not
and
everything's
you find out.
Fairy tale and princesses.
I mean, one of the biggest things...
dirty.
One of the biggest things that got me is like, our whole lives we're taught that the Civil War was fought over racism. and it wasn't fought over racism. It wasn't even brought into racism until like way into the war when the North was losing. And they said if we get rid of slavery in the North, we can get black people to fight in the war with us, and then we have more people and we have a better chance of win. And then that's the reason it became a race thing. Before that, it was because all the stuff was coming into the southern borders, all the shipments and everything was coming into the southern borders, and then the southern borders or the southern states were charging tariffs for the North. And the North got tired of paying that shit. Like, why are we paying for stuff and we're all one country? And then that's what actually started the Civil War. It didn't have nothing to do with race. Race wasn't brought in until they had already been fighting for a couple years.
Yeah, the North wanted to preserve the Union and keep control and have like a strong central government. And the South didn't want that. South wanted different things. Like it wasn't like it did. You're right. It didn't become about slavery until later, which is sad. But I think that's just the way.
Well, when you go to school, when you go to school, they teach you it was all about slavery. Everything's about slavery. And what's going on, Clint? It's all about slavery. So, and that's what you're taught because you're taught by the North, and slavery was a big thing and a big plot point because it's what was supposed to have unified the North and all this different stuff, and it didn't have nothing to do with none of that shit. But once again, the story's told by the victors.
Right. I kind of do like how they're kind of bringing that into Star Wars a little bit. Like real life, real history is not black and white. It's messy, it's dirty. Both the good guys and the bad guys can be bad guys, and both the good guys and the bad guys can be good guys.
Well, how far do you go for what you believe in?
Exactly. And like, you know what I mean? We paint like the Empire is such a bad picture, and it's showing, all right, there's a little bit of humanity in the Empire. They're not all bad. And then you paint the rebels as all these good guys, but then you realize, well, Andor is not really a good guy. You know what I mean? So it's showing
a
like
freaking thief and a liar, and he shoots people in the face. You know
it's showing life is messy. Life is messy. Nobody's perfect, and history is not all rainbows and sunshine, and not everything's black and white. I like it.
So let's get to some news and rumors right quick. I think we talked a little bit because we're gonna be talking more Andor every Wednesday, so we can get back to some more Andor stuff. So let's get to some news and rumors right now.
The ultimate news and rumors.
Shit. Damn, I done fucked around and hit the button twice. Hey, and just real quick, Clint, I know you wasn't here for the beginning part of the show, so you're going to have to go back and listen to it. Verona had to leave. She had to take her dog to the vet, so she had to leave a little bit early, so go back and listen to the first part of the episode because that's when she's on. One of the things, because we were just talking about this, and I thought, and I know that you thought, the Andor kind of didn't do their flashbacks in the right area, but Screen Rant on MSN said, take note, Star Wars Andor is how you do a flashbacks.
What?
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what the hell y'all was watching because them flashbacks just came at some of the most awkward moments. Like, dude, I was just like really invested on what was going on, and y'all jumped into a flashback.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I was like, wait, hold on.
Like, I was kind of confused a couple times. Like, what is this? Something else that's happening somewhere else? Like, what's going on?
Or is this another flashback?
Yeah. So I don't know what they were talking about, but that was one of the things that they were brought up. Chris says, nah, I think the Empire is about to roll in after security fuck up and mess things up more. And I think you're right on that. I think they kind of brought it into a point, like we were saying, that they brought it into a point that they didn't start off with just stormtroopers and the Empire just all right in your face. They start off with letting the planets try to figure things out. And then when shit gets messed up, then that's when they bring in the dumbass stormtroopers. They're going to bring in, because the stormtroopers, I've been doing a little bit of research on stormtroopers.
The elite force.
The stormtroopers was all about numbers. They would bring in enough numbers that you would get trapped because there was so many of them. So you see they went in with, 10 guys, 12 guys, and 2 guys basically escaped. Now they bring in the stormtroopers and, whoever else they bring in, and then you get swamped in, and that's how they break shit because they just have so many. Just like when they take over a planet, they send in, you know what I'm saying, a shit ton of stormtroopers, and you're just overwhelmed by how much stormtroopers there is, or just not even so much stormtroopers. At this point, it'd probably be stormtroopers. But if you go back to like Solo, and you look at Solo, they had regular battle forces, you know, with regular soldiers. Everybody wasn't stormtroopers, but they just overwhelmed you with the mass of how many people they had, and that's how they took over shit. It's kind of like, you know, like when Genghis Khan took over a thing. It was like he had like 500,000 soldiers fighting against, you know, 5,000 soldiers. They're gonna win. Right. They're gonna overthrow that shit. So I think I think that's kind of how they pushed the plot for this. So we'll have to see, because I know there's other Imperial troops that come in that are not stormtroopers that they kind of showed in the trailers,
like clones.
Let's see, what else do we got on? Oh, you had something about James Earl Jones?
Yeah, dude. So this is kind of sad, but it's also like understandable. So James Earl Jones just signed for the rights to the voice of Darth Vader. So it means he no longer has exclusive rights to voice Darth Vader, which means a couple things. One, it means he's retiring. And two, the next time we hear Darth Vader, it's not going to be James Earl Jones.
Which, I mean, with effects and shit like that, I mean, they could get anybody to voice and make them sound just like James Earl Jones with technology now.
Definitely.
So I don't think it's going to be like a different voice. It won't be James Earl Jones being Darth Vader.
I think I read that he sold it to like a software like thing that can like mimic his voice. So it's going to sound the exact same. Yeah, he sold over the rights to his voice to filmmakers using new AI technology. So it's going to still sound the same. It's not going to be drastically different, but it is sad. Like little James Earl Jones is done.
Most of
he's amazing.
And then comicbooks.com put out a thing 17 hours ago. Says Star Wars Yellow Jacket director joins Andor season 2. So, like, this is probably the 10th fucking thing I've seen about season 2 of Andor. So I'm thinking that they're already, I mean, it's out there. They're already planning on doing an Andor season 2, which is cool, because then that means they're not going to rush the storyline. They're doing 12 episodes, and this is just the first season. It's going to be more like Mandalorian. They knew that they were coming out with multiple seasons of Mandalorian. So they didn't rush the storyline. They even had filler episodes in the Mandalorian. So it was like, I think that they're going to really push the story, and I think the story is going to go well. I think that they have a really good storyline for it, and I think that's going to be pretty good. I think that they're going to overall push. They're going to really push this plot, and they're going to make it really, really good. I hope they don't start just putting out garbage, because that's going to make me mad. You put out the 3 best episodes and then garbage after that, I'm going to be mad as shit. Yeah, most of the stuff that came out in news is all about Andor.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely, and for good reason. But
yeah, because it just came out.
Not much else.
Jedi Fallen Order. Oh, wait, no, that's not what I was looking at. Let me go back. Clicked on the wrong shit.
But yeah, you are seeing lots of headlines about, like,
well, it's like
Andor, best show since Mandalorian, like best Star Wars since Mandalorian.
Well, it says Andor flashback. Then it has Jedi Fallen Order meme ruins door for every Star Wars game. I'm like, dude, how that's just, I don't, like, when I read headlines like that, I don't even want to click on that shit, because it's going to be some stupid shit that doesn't even make sense. A lot of times when I read like news articles like that and you read through it, it's like, dude, what the hell are y'all even talking about? Like, it don't even have anything to do with what the fuck the headline is. Like, I can read the headline and know that the fucking, whatever the story is going to be stupid. Then you got Andor creator Tony Gilroy orders his team to put aside their Star Wars reverence. Basically, because people talking shit. There's going to be people talking shit. Star Wars James Earl Jones winding down as Darth Vader. Andor Star Wars explains their villains are nothing like classic Star Wars buddies or baddies. how to watch Star Wars movies in order. I swear every week there's fucking one damn Star Wars news that tells you how to watch this shit. Like, dude, watch it the way you want to watch it. If really you want to watch it in the right order, you watch it 1 through 9. That's it. If you really want to watch it in the actual order of the story going. But if you want to watch it in the original way it came out, watch it in the original. If you want to watch the sequels first and then go back and watch the other one, do whatever you want. Watch it the way you want to watch it. Like, I don't know why they got 69 Star Wars memes that make you C-3PO, make you laugh your C-3PO pants off. Like, I don't even know what that is. Like, because if you want to see memes, just go on Instagram or TikTok and you're going to see memes all day long.
Yeah, I did see an article that I don't know. I don't really want to talk about it because we've been through this thing 1,000 times. But it's this article by Screen Rant, and it's about Disney's mismanagement of Star Wars. And I know we talked a lot about it. We've talked a bunch about it. We don't need to get into it again. But if anybody wants to read that, they go hard on Disney. I read it and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, but everything is basically about Andor, and there's not too much. And and we're missing CJ today, so CJ is the one that goes through all the toys and stuff like that. I don't know where he gets his info. I know he gets a lot of it from Instagram, but he be knowing all this shit. I don't know anything about
Yeah, I don't know anything about toys either. I apologize.
Yeah, I don't have the toy. You guys are gonna have to wait till Wednesday, because then he should be back Wednesday, and which I think the next couple episodes, unless something pops up and it's pretty big, the next couple episodes we're not gonna have no celebrities on. We're gonna take a break from having celebrities on.
We're gonna go back to
just so we can get caught up. And we need to get caught up on, talking about Andor and talking about a little bit more about stuff that's going on in Star Wars. I mean, it's cool to learn everything when it comes to Star Wars.
We love celebrities. We're still celebrities, but we also want to talk about regular stuff too. And
it's just we haven't really because we've had the last 5 Saturdays or 5 last 4 Saturdays, and on a Wednesday and that was just mismanagement on our side. I'll take credit for that. I mismanaged that because with Andor coming out, and then we had Christopher on there, we really didn't get to cover Andor the way that we wanted to. It was kind of fucked up, but that was the only day he could do it, and I wanted to get his side of things. And there were some questions that I really wanted to ask him when it comes to. And that was a great episode. I really enjoyed that episode. That was a good episode.
It was.
Because he had some really good insights, and he really opened up the doors for us to talk about a little bit of some other things that's just not. Which a lot of those things that we was talking about, like the certain ways to live and all that stuff. Yes, Chris. I'm sorry, I had to say that because I just got that. Chris says that the flashbacks were at least better than the Book of Boba Fett. Yes, they were. They were way better than the Book of Boba Fett. And they that's still one of the things that gets me, though. They shot that dude like, you guys got to get some better poison. That dude was already yellow, and then y'all shot him 400 times with arrows, with them little darts, and then that dude still didn't drop. Like, y'all got to get some better poison.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then Star Wars team leader said episode 4 is going to be nothing but back to T. Back to what? What is to T?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Give us more information, Star Wars team leader.
Back to T.
And back to T. I don't know. Yeah, they're just, there wasn't too much in news. It's everything is about Andor, which I kind of figured that it would be. There was going to be a lot of Andor news. Just because Andor just came out, so it's good. It's just good. I knew that there was going to be a lot more that had to do about Andor. There was one thing that I found that I was trying to find again. It was talking about I'm trying to look for it, but it was talking about something had a release date. I think that they gave the release date for either acolytes or for the Ahsoka.
Oh.
But I can't find it now. It might have been one of them fucking clickbait thingies and shit. Cause I didn't get a chance to read it yet. I haven't really read no news today, to be honest. I'm just looking at shit right now, but I just seen something and now I can't find it.
Well, there isn't much right now.
And I knew that there wasn't kind of be, so I didn't really get into reading a lot of the news. I mean, you brought out the James Earl Jones thing, and then I knew that a bunch of stuff was going to be about Andor, and it's like literally every freaking other post is either about James Earl Jones giving up Darth Vader or Andor. But there was one I seen that said something about some release dates being released for some of the movies or some of the other TV shows.
I don't know.
And there's some people saying, you know, that the Andor series is more of, you know, John Lee Care than George Lucas, and it's gonna be. It's not. George Lucas ain't doing it no more.
Yeah.
I understand this is Star Wars.
If it's good,
Disney.
I don't care. If it's good,
Yeah, I don't
good.
care neither, as long as it's good. And this is better than what we've been getting. And I kind of thought that it was going to be. I mean, just because this is Disney's creation. This is a Disney character. Rogue One was Disney. Back to tanking. My phone died. Meant to type LOL. Back to tanking flashbacks. Yeah, I can see that happening. It could go back to a lot more flashbacks and give him more of a backstory of him and his sister, or when he first gets. Because we know they're gonna have to do more flashbacks because they're gonna have to explain how he became to the person that he is now. So it has to go back to that woman that kidnapped him, and then and him as he grows up. So we're gonna get more flashbacks, which I don't have a problem with if they just put him in the right place. They just seem like they kind of put him in a weird place when they were. When they did it in the series. Yeah, I can't find it now. I don't know. I'm not seeing it anywhere, so.
Oh, well.
But we are also working on, I'm working on getting some other actors to come on the show, and some more high-end, I know we did quite a few voice actors and stuff like that, but I want to get some more of actual live-action actors. And then I've been talking back and forth with a couple people to try to get more of because I want to get more information on like being in the movies and doing more stuff. I mean, Miltos was pretty cool because he was actually in the movie, but he was more Game of Thrones. I think we talked more about Game of Thrones because really in Star Wars, he was only just stood behind Harrison Ford for like 2.3 seconds in The Force Awakens, so he really didn't have a major role in Star Wars. It was still kind of cool to have him on the show because, hey, I'm about to watch House of Dragons. I think I'm gonna watch that. I've been watching the Rings of Power. I don't know. I heard a lot of people say that shit was garbage. I don't know. I kind of like it. That one elf chick, the main chick, Andrea or whatever the fuck her name is, that bitch is bad as shit. That bitch is crazy.
All you need to please Kyle, an attractive girl who's somewhat competent at kicking ass. He's all over it.
Yeah. She's kind of cool. Man, that bitch is crazy. She jumped off the boat. They was going into Valhalla or whatever the fuck they call that shit. Like the light came out, it was like going into heaven. This bitch jumps off the boat and starts swimming back to the war. Bitch, you're crazy. I'm going into that nice ass cool shit. I ain't trying to do this shit no more. But I want to watch House of Dragon. I gotta go. I gotta watch Game of Thrones before I can watch House of Dragons though. I know I suck. I've never watched all of Game of Thrones. Like I said, I watched a little bit of it, but I haven't really sit down and ever really watched it. I need to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there isn't much else on news. And we already did the Impossible quiz, so I think there ain't much more to this episode. I don't think we got that much more. Chris said the biggest issue with Ring of Power is that it's supposed supposedly they are not following the lore and the books at all. I don't know. I don't know. I ain't never because ain't there a book called the Rings of Power? I know I ain't never read any of the. I just watched the movies and I watched the old ass cartoon The Hobbit, but I ain't never got into none of the books on the not Harry Potter. What the fuck am I talking about? On
Lord of the Rings.
Lords of the Rings. So I ain't never read none of the books. I ain't never get into the books that much. I just watched the movies, and like I said, I watched old ass Hobbit, because that shit came out when I was a kid. Shit, I think it came out before I was born. I don't even know when that shit came out. Yeah. When did The Hobbit come out? Look that shit up.
The Hobbit's new.
No, I'm not talking about the TV. There used to be a cartoon called The Hobbit.
Oh.
Like that, all of this shit came off.
That came out in like 1977.
Yeah, the year I was born.
Holy shit. I've never even heard of that thing.
Yeah, that shit was a cool ass cartoon. It's like where Bilbo Baggins, like
what?
How it all got started. Like,
dude, that's dope. I had no idea.
Yeah, it is kind of slow, but I think they're doing really good on telling the story, though. I think that the story is going well. But go back and watch it. Like, look that shit up, the Hobbit cartoon, and watch that shit. Like, it's fucking like all the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy, or the whole Lord of the Rings, everything is all based off of that fucking cartoon. That's where it started at, that cartoon. The actual book that cartoon was written off of. That's where it all started, and then they that's when they started. That's where they got the idea to make the whole Lord of the Rings and all that shit. And I watched that shit when I was like super young, like 3 or 4 years old with my mom. And then when they came out with the Lord of the Rings, I kind of had an idea about it, because it shows like he found the ring and like all the shit, and then they went back and retold the story, and then when they told the Hobbit and then the Lord of the Rings and all of that shit, all comes from that. So it's pretty cool. I don't know. I like the Lord of the Rings shit. That's why it's crazy. Like, I was talking to my wife last night, and I was like, I'm surprised I didn't get into like Game of Thrones, because usually I like that type of shit. But I watched a couple episodes, and I just never really got into it. Now I got to go back and watch fucking, 7, 8 seasons of that shit, 7, 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, so I can start watching House of Dragons. Like, dude, I ain't got time for that shit. I'm so damn busy right now. I'm like freaking. I can't even say, fuck, I'm just super fucking busy. I got so much shit to do. And I got to go to the doctor on Monday. I don't want to go. I got to go see the neurologist. You got a
funeral to go to today.
As soon as we get off of here, I'm shit. As soon as we get off of here, I'm literally, my wife's coming to get me. Well, I'm not even going to the funeral. The funeral's going on right now. I'm going to the burial site, so I can say goodbye to my uncle, because I'm doing a podcast while they're all at the funeral.
All right. Well, on that sad note, maybe
it's not sad. Hey, man, it says that we're supposed to be joyful when somebody dies and cry
That's
when
true.
A baby is born. Because a baby is being brought into this fucked up ass world, and now they gotta live in this world till they die. But when you die, you're free from the pain of this world.
Where is that said?
It's said in the Bible somewhere.
It does? Wow,
Yeah, you're supposed to be joyful.
Old Testament's got some dark shit, yeah.
I think it's in the New Testament.
Bullshit. Actually, I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah, look it up. I can't remember. I know it's in the Bible somewhere. I just can't remember where. I used to be able to, years ago when I was going to school for this, I could quote the Bible all damn day long. I mean, I could literally quote, time it, like tell you what verse it was, what book it was, what book it was in, like everything. Nah, I can't remember none of that shit now. I can rarely remember my damn name half the time. Like, literally, I was at the bank yesterday, and the lady asked me my name. It took me like a minute to tell her my name. I looked like I was a thief, like I was trying to steal some shit or something. She was like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "What the fuck is my damn name?" A lot going on this week. My son turned 15 on Wednesday. My grandson turned 5. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, but there's
can't find anything yet.
You might be looking for a while. You got, like, what I'll probably do is look up about babies' births.
I know I did, and it brought up, I don't know. Anyways,
Yeah,
I can't find
there's
that.
a whole bunch of different scripts. I'll find it and tell you what it is, if I remember. So I think that's about it for today, guys. I don't think we really got it. Now we're just babbling at this point. I don't think we got much more. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing Verona talk about some stuff. Like I said, we're going to get some more people on here, but we're just taking a break for a couple weeks to get
We'll
so
still
we
be
can
putting
get
out
caught back up.
shows. We're just taking a break from celebrities.
Yeah. Just because, you know, I don't want to do another celebrity on Wednesday night unless they have watched Andor.
Right.
Like, because that's what we're talking about on Wednesdays.
Everybody
Like I
wants to
said, that was the
hear
only
our
day that Chris
opinion.
could come on the
That's
show.
why
so
you guys come listen to us. It's for our opinions, not for those stupid rich people. I'm just kidding.
that's messed up.
I'm just kidding. Just a joke. They're awesome.
You too, Chris. Have a good weekend. So we're going to get out of here, guys. We will see you guys Saturday. So peace, and may the force be with you.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to LSR. If you've enjoyed the show, consider subscribing so you can be notified when new episodes are released. If you would like to be a guest on the show or just want to give us some feedback, feel free to email us. You can also reach out to us on all major social media platforms. LightSaber Radio is produced by PicFilm Media and is a Swaycast original, starring Garrison Turcotte, CJ Elliott, and Kyle McDaniel. And don't forget to join us next time for more adventures in a galaxy far, far away.